Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Auto Auction Maverick. Today, we're going to talk about some more high-level strategies about what it comes to like being a successful buyer. Okay, I'm going to lay out a scenario, and I'm just going to take you through what I did and why it was beneficial to do so. So, let's go ahead and lay out Odessa in Chicago. That's kind of like what I call my home auction. I'm a bass fisherman, so you usually have like a home pond or a home lake that you normally have. That's my home auction, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the staff here is second to none, okay? Ted Coates, the GM, absolute class act, great guy, along with Neri Valadares, excellent to work with. But top to bottom, everybody there is great. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, so the preview day for Odessa, Chicago is on Thursday. Their auction is on Friday, okay? Let's just say you got 40 cars you need to look at, okay? So with Odessa and any other auctions, what you're really going to need to make sure that you do first and foremost is that you have all of the work done on these cars that you can have done ahead of time, okay? And the reason I say that is if a car has like really good core maintenance and you run into something on the exterior that you didn't actually see in the pictures or something that is really small, I would honestly be very inclined to get that car, okay? Because its maintenance history is A1. But so to just stay on track here, you always want to make sure that you are there right when the auction opens, okay? And in this case, I think it's either 8 or 8:30, and it is a hard stop at 3 o'clock. It wasn't for me, but that's because I was never doing anything that I shouldn't have been doing. I know not all of them, but I know a lot of tricks. But whenever you are at an auction, I genuinely think that it's a privilege to be there, and you could be kicked out at any time. So if you want to risk, an opportunity to buy cars there, for a long time, and you want to mess around with some cars, by all means, go for it. But I just tell you, it's not worth it. And if you're somebody that does this continually, we're just going to tell you that the people that do have the money to be there and don't need to do that stuff, we're looking at you as you are somebody that doesn't have the money to be here. Okay? So you get to the auction and right when they open, and the first thing that you want to do is you want to analyze and see if you're the first person there. If you're the first person there, you need to have 5 cars ready to go that you want to look at before anybody else, okay? Knock those out. Then you want to go to the lane that is going to have the most desirable cars in it, okay? So in this case, it's the Tesla lane. If you can get to the Tesla lane before everybody else, you can know all about those cars while everybody else is driving them, and you are ahead. So let's just say that it is 1 o'clock and you haven't had lunch, you had the hammer down, and you have gone through your 40 cars, okay? Very doable. And at that point, you're like, you know what? I could be done for the day. I had fulfilled what I initially wanted to accomplish. But it's really at that point what separates a really good car buyer from arguably one of the best. At that point, what you need to be doing in this situation is you need to be keeping an eye on the drop-off lane, okay? So sellers can drop off vehicles to Odessa by 3 p.m. on Thursday, and Odessa will get it processed and it will be in the sale, okay? So you want to keep an eye out for vehicles that are getting dropped off, okay? It's going to be important that you can put hands on them and that sort of thing. You cannot drive them, okay? But it's important for you to kind of know about those cars like ahead of time, okay? So in addition to the drop-off lane, what you really want to be doing is once you have done this a few times at auctions, you're going to be conditioned to be subconsciously be going by knowing that you're going to need to drive by the drop-off lane periodically about every half hour just to see what has been dropped off, okay? The reason why I say that is because a car could get dropped off at literally 1:30 and it could be sitting outside a detail at 2:30. It all depends on what prerequisites and what the seller wants the auction to do. If they want them to detail it, they want them to do anything from a mech standpoint or whatever. So at that point, you at 1 o'clock, 1:30, you should be sitting outside of the detail portion of the auction, okay? Waiting for a car that you've been waiting on to look at, okay? While everybody else is up on the main lot test driving all the cars, already know all about the cars well ahead of time. And in this case, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, okay, when you have a chance to test drive a car that nobody else has been able to test drive, because in the scenario, a car could come out of detail at like 250, okay? As long as you're going to put it on spot, you can take it and put it on spot and test drive it, okay? But as soon as it's 259 and 59 seconds, that's it. So I think that was like one of the main things I saw at that auction. I don't know. I know one thing is that my situation is definitely different from most people, but that is one thing that I think most car buyers kind of lose track of. And you really, really can add, a car or two or three to whatever you get from the sale and cars that you win, and you can save your dealership a lot of money. Thanks, guys.